Hello, welcome to this, my second episode of my Octopath Traveler gameplay series. We left off last episode, we saw most of the story and got kind of an introduction to Ophilia and her path action, and now we are on our way to the Cave of Origin, so let's just dive right in here. So the battle basics, breaking enemies' guard. All enemies will have guard points, and we'll see that is a shield icon next to their vulnerabilities, which are hidden until you reveal them, and you reveal them by causing damage. So there's a bunch of damage types, right, and then boost. So the upper right, you see the golden power pellets up there, and you can spend those up to 3 per turn to empower your abilities, and enemies that are broken take bonus damage. We'll go through that again as we move forward, but so all enemies have some number of vulnerabilities. There's the 12 damage types, and everyone, you hit them with either a weapon or an elemental damage. And so we'll see this guy. We've hit him already with the staff weapon, and so we can see, and just as a nice feature, you see when you target someone with something to which they are vulnerable, it flashes blue to say, yeah, this will hurt him. And he has a 1 in the shield, that's 1 guard point, so you hit him once with the staff, it'll break him. And in the broken state, they lose their actions. At the top, there's the turn order. They will lose the action in the current turn, the left half of the screen, and their next turn, the right half of the screen. They'll lose both those actions. So if you can go first and break their guard, they'll actually lose out on 2 actions. You don't see a lot of that when you only have 1 person in your party, because every action is a whole turn, but once you get a bigger party, you'll see just how advantageous that is. So let's go up the hill here. Let's go ahead. There's not anything up here but a big overlook, and you can kind of see the cathedral in the background, and you can also see the minimap. You can see there's an exit to the town way down the bottom left. The little feather is a save point, and then the green area is where I need to go for my quest. So we're going to go ahead. Okay. So you can see at the top when I break him. When I target him, he lights up blue on the next turn. And when I break him, that shatters, which is also just a nice effect. I just love all the little details they put in here. And then I'm going to use my Holy Light because her elemental attack is really more effective than her physical attack. And really, as you're playing the game, you'll find that combat kind of takes 2 phases. The first phase is break the guard of the enemy, and then the second phase is, of course, to burst them while their guard is broken, because they take bonus damage from everything. It's really good. Let's go ahead. I feel compelled to speak. It's very dangerous inside. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Give me something. What are you giving me? Alright, and now, another just nice little thing. I love when you go into a dark area, your character pulls out a little lantern. Like they're real people. Like, oh, it's dark in here. Except for whatever reason, there's torches all throughout this area. Which I guess is fine. They're preparing for this ritual that happens every 20 years. It's a sacred cave. I guess it makes sense. And so, the combat menu is pretty standard. You've got flee, defend, then use items, and then your basic attack. Summons the companion you're guiding into battle. And that, I'm not going to use it here because you have a limited number of uses. I can only summon this guy 9 times, and I'm trying to get a lot of mileage out of him. But then you've got your cleric skills. Again, Holy Light. And each of these that you use multiplies the damage that my Holy Light is going to do. So I like to break the guard as soon as I can, and then just burst them with that. And now at the end, there's this untouched bonus and a break bonus. And those are actually really neat. You get rewarded for playing the game well. Spiriting Plum. Restore mana, my SP. So you get rewarded for playing the game well in the form of these bonuses. If you manage to go an entire combat without taking damage, you will get the untouched bonus, which is a 10% bonus to the money that you get. And if you break any guard during the combat, which happens honestly almost every combat, you're going to break a guard unless you're either so over leveled that you can just use an AoE damage of any type and kill someone in one shot, just clear the board. That doesn't count as break, I think. Or you're just really not trying. But yeah, so it's a 10% bonus rounded up. Well, minimum of 1, I guess is what it is. So you get 10% bonus to experience when you break a guard, and 10% bonus to gold when you are untouched. And the last one, JP, is my favorite. That one requires, the 10% bonus there, requires winning in the very first round. Excuse me. Which, when you have only one character, is pretty much impossible. Because you'd have to just grind your level up to get to it. So, it just doesn't happen, so I don't even worry about it. But another thing that you'll notice is when you level up, you will fully restore, the character that levels up fully restores all their health and their SP. And here's the headgear item I mentioned earlier. Just go ahead and put that on. Get some max SP. Kind of wish that I had leveled up before that, because now you can see a 68 on the right, 68 out of 78 SP, because the maximum was increased, and so that left a little bit empty. But you'll see here, another thing that I like this game does is this is kind of a hidden path. It's not super obvious that the path continues here. You can see that the path is on the right, so you can kind of guess that there's a passage back there. But the game does that quite a bit. Which adds a sense of depth to the terrain that you're walking through, because you'll often find yourself passing behind things as you're playing. You just end up going behind trees or behind rocks and down through little caves, and your character actually will leave view, which I have found it just adds something to the gameplay. It's very enjoyable to me. Here we haven't seen monsters like this. Something's watching, lurking in the shadows. Alright. Ooh. So now red chests are decidedly better than gray chests. The gray chests or brown chests that you find, they contain what is it? Consumables. They'll contain consumable items, and that's about it. Just low-grade consumables. Whereas the red chests, they contain either higher grade consumables or gear that you can equip, or just money. There's also money. Alright. Job points is the system by which you learn skills. It's a job system. We'll get into that as that becomes relevant. But you learn skills by spending the job points that you earn through combat. And the fun thing I like about this is that every class has 7 basic skills, and they begin knowing 2 of them. And then there's a divine skill that you can't unlock until you've unlocked the other 7. But the thing I like the most is that you can unlock them in whatever order you want. Now she boosts elemental defense, she's got healing magic, and a revive. She's clearly a cleric. I like to go for the AoE damage as quickly as possible on virtually all characters. And actually, let's see, how am I doing here? 6 experience to next level. I'm actually going to grind it out, so bear with me as I do this real quick. It's not very exciting. But the developers put in the first demo, there was no ability to sprint. You could only move very slowly, in fact. And since then they've added it, and when you're sprinting, the encounter rate goes up, so that you'll actually have more encounters overall as you pass through an area. If you're sprinting, you'll move faster, so it feels like you're getting there faster, but you run into things more frequently, and so you'll have more encounters per zone. Which I think I'm gonna start doing that because I like the experience and loot. What can I say? All right, I am the guardian of the first flame. Thou wouldst call in thyself the flame bearer. All right. Whoa. That's a big guy. All right, let's pull in our cleric. And so now he acts on Ophilia's turn all the time. So in the turn order, you can see the boss goes and then Ophilia goes. And so after I decide on my action, I'm going to attack him because he's vulnerable to the staff, and we're working on those guard points. The cleric goes. So he always acts on Ophilia's turn, which is super handy. And it's fun when if you get to the point where you have Ophilia and the dancer, Primrose, and can summon 2 different people. You can have 6 total people in your party, and it just gets crazy. So let's go ahead and burst him here. Nice chunk of damage there, 600. And then we're just gonna grind this guy down. Guardian of the First Flame. The name there is in white, which tells us he's still at 50% or more of his total health. So he's still quite healthy. So I'm gonna pull the cleric back out, and I love that he uses Ice Storm because it hits him twice. Just chews down on that. The guard points he's got. Now this guy's annoying. He presents us with an interesting option. We can slow down to take out the Dark Wisp. He gives us a 3-turn timer before he blows himself up. But I think we can kill the Guardian boss in that time. And so we see, if you notice, his health has turned yellow. That tells us he's somewhere between 25 and 49% of his health. And so that 600 something burst damage we did earlier, that hurt him. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of stick with what's working. And punch him down, and it would be nice if my cleric would help me out here. Okay, I'm full up on my boost points, and since you can only store 5, and I know that I'm going to be bursting him on the next turn, I may as well spend a couple to just get as much damage in as I can there. Now he does it. Thanks, buddy. And he's gone. Okay. Alright, one more turn. So he... Oh, he got to go twice. That really hurt. And now... So another thing. When... Ow. Can't believe how much damage that did. So another thing, he's stunned now. And you see in the next turn, he's going to go first. And there's nothing I can do to stop him from going first when he comes out of stun. And I believe that's a mechanic designed to prevent the player from stun locking the enemy. Whenever they come out of being stunned, they go first. And so they're guaranteed at least one action every couple turns as they come out of being stunned. Okay. So he's clearly charging up for something, and I should defend against it. I should use my defend command, but I see that I'm acting before him in the next turn, so I can go ahead and whack him one, and then defend, because defend is highly effective apparently. That's amazing. He did not even touch me with that. All right, let's break his guard. You see he loses 2 actions at the top, and then hit him with another Holy Light. Perfect. That's enough to finish him off. I love it. Let's see what we got. 22 experience. Not bad. And an Inspiriting Plum Basket. That's a party-wide restorative, which is actually quite nice. but I won't be using it too often. Okay, so that's her first boss. Down and out. Judged worthy to bear in the sacred flame, reaching out thine hand and taking it in Elfric's lanthorn. Okay. There's this interesting kind of Shakespearean speech patterns that you see where they end their verbs in en. And I understand some people don't like it, but I actually really enjoy it. Speaking of it, the hunter character, Honnet, she speaks in that way, and I'm gonna head out and get her next. Is the plan. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna hurry through. This this bit here, this bit of story. It's actually incredibly long. So in the interest of time, I'm gonna skip this. But they find out that she took the flame, which is a grievous sin, because if you're not the anointed one that is meant to go in and take the flame, and you take it, that's severely frowned upon. They consider it a grave sin. But they realize that she did it as a kindness to her sister, who was not willing to leave. So she says goodbye, because she kind of the Archbishop retcons the whole thing and says, we'll make it okay. I'll give you my permission after the fact, which doesn't really work. And then she says goodbye to him and says goodbye to her sister. And then that's it. So we're going to go ahead and gear up here and then head off towards the west to Swarky to pick up Honnet. And so that's the goal. But I'll go ahead and shop here. But I'm going to end the video here.